All right, we're back. Okay.
Probably second live video at this point.
Yeah,
so.
sorry, this is part 2 now. Yeah, not sure what happened or the feed got messed up, but yeah, so we lost the audience. So no one's watching.
Well, maybe we'll come back. I mean, I'm sure that they're going to sit there and
we'll
wonder
just,
what's going on.
Yeah, we'll just let everybody catch up again because maybe it was.
So maybe we can.
Okay, one person's watching. Okay, we'll wait for. Sorry, we don't know what happened. Something. Okay, Patrick's watching.
Yes.
Patrick, how are you holding up? Like, if you want a video chat later, we'd be open to that. Because God knows you're probably, I don't know, are you alone? Are you...
Well, yes, I was talking. I mean, at least he's still working through his office, but yes, he is alone.
Rose Martin is back.
Yes,
okay,
good.
4 people. Okay. Guys, no clue what happened. Whatever, we're just gonna pick up. But what we were just saying before is that, like, I just feel like it goes beyond the arts sometimes. Like, I feel that, like, in order to be a successful person in this world now, it seems like you have to have a lot of skill sets, and I do think that it is good, no matter who you are, it's always good to just keep developing skills, and again, it's one of the things I really love about this quarantine is that so many people are, like, doing things like that. It's like, oh, okay, I've never tried, like, needlepoint. And you know what? If you try it now and you're not good at it, then you're just going to appreciate someone who does it now. Or you're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to find somebody on here who does needlepoint really well. And oh, look, they're doing these, like, cute little memes and shit like that. And I was like, I'll buy one of those. And then you'll know that your $75 or $100 not only paid this person's bills, but also, like, legitimizes and brings value to what they do. And it's just very psychologically healthy for an artist. So it's just like, just buy some paintings, support the art you like, because the whole art system is such bullshit. It's basically the curators, they care about numbers and money. They don't really
names rather than quality or content.
They don't really care about, like, the quality of the work that's out there. And so, the answer to that is, if you buy $100 painting from someone because you like it and you take care of it and you treat it well and you pass it on to people and treat it as if this is a thing that is valuable. Mm-hmm. Like, you're the one that's going to make that artist's work valuable. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's the same with going to see burlesque shows, going to see drag shows. Hell, even right now, just sending people $5-10 on Venmo, makes a big difference.
Matt-Knife.
Yes, Matt-Knife, if you want to do that. Again, it's like, I'm not just advocating for me, I'm advocating for myself.
Well, yes,
and everybody
I think
else.
When we were cut off, and I don't know if anybody caught that too, it's like we were also promoting I Delgado, Miss Deity Delgado's skincare.
Chris Fox just joined us too, another queer photographer, artist,
yes.
Unashamed faggot. I'm assuming you're all right with that word. I think you are. We mean it in a positive way. But just from your work, I think that, in the brief interactions we've had. But yeah, again, another person who's very good at several things and whatever. So, guys, on to the next segment. So, since this is...
Oh, first, before you do it, let's show this off, because Rose was just asking about this.
Here, right.
So, this painting by Mr. Matt, speaking of money, it deals with money, because it's gold, and look, there's a dollar painting there, and some dollar signs and skulls and things. So, this is another lovely painting that... you could own in your home
for $100.
For $100, and does anybody know what I'm doing here? What this is all about? Okay, let's go on to Matt, because Matt is going to be doing another Bob Ross style painting.
Hi, everybody. So that painting could be yours for like $100 if you want it. And I got the idea for that. There's a sushi restaurant right around the corner from here. And I went in and their wallpaper was that, like, it was black with gold accents. And I was like, oh my God. And just staring at that for hours, like, I was like, I'm going to do a face peel of that. So it's all glittery. Like, you can't see it necessarily on the, like, cameras flatten paintings out and stuff. But they, but yeah, that's what, it's glitter. And it's suspended. It has a lot of depth. So, I figured in honor of a shameless faggot artist, and Leonardo da Vinci, since it's his birthday today, we are going to do a Moan Lizzie, as I like to call her. Like, if you all are fans of Bullwinkle, I remember that this is like one of the episodes. He was like, "Oh, it's the Moan Lizzie," and I was like, "Oh, that's so cute." So, what I did is this is a 300-pound watercolor paper. I had a stack of paintings I had done in grad school at UT Austin that I hated, and but I didn't want to throw them away because the paper was still good and valuable, and I knew I could just gesso over it and whatever. So this is repurposed. So much like Leonardo da Vinci, if someone x-rays this in the future, they will be able to see that there was another painting underneath this. And that just comes from a necessity and being a cheapskate. And, but then also, more importantly, realizing that, sometimes you can just build on, it's much like the earth, it's like, you're just like, all right, I'm just going to cover it up and just build something better on top of it and, whatever. So Rose, you like the Moan Lizzie too. So what I'm going to do is I went ahead and already roughly sketched it. So again, like we're not going for, 2012, like, we're putting the Mona Lisa in a safe place because the world is going to end, and this is like the reproduction. We're going to put in the Louvre to confuse everybody to think that it's still there. This is Matt Knife's quick quarantine cafe version of the Mona Lisa. And full disclosure, as I said before, the Mona Lisa is not my favorite piece of his. I think it's cool. I've seen it in real life. But I also just feel like, all right, this painting has really good PR. Like, I mean, it is an icon. It is the most reproduced work of art in the world. Second to images of George Washington because of money, and Queen Elizabeth II because of money and stamps. So, she's famous. She's an icon. I get it. But, I also, want to paint a mustache on her, like, kind of like Marcel Duchamp. Like, I just want to be like, oh, here it is. And again, speaking of another amazing artist, we have Paul here who's there. He's a photographer and a very intelligent, smart man. So again, Paul, this episode is all about, it's Leonardo da Vinci's birthday. So it's all about like how when you're an artist, you have to be kind of good at a lot of different things. So what we're going to do is I have like it's like a burnt umber and a Payne's gray. And so I'm just going to lay the shadows into this real quick. Just quick and dirty. I sort of implied it already with my pencil. So I'm going to let the pencil kind of speak in this too. The browns are going to come in with her hair. And because this is the quarantine edition, she is going to have a mask on. So everybody talks about her smile. I honestly think I'm more impressed with her eyes. Like, I think her eyes are 1,000 times more intriguing because for this age, for a woman to be looking directly at you in a painting was bold and scary. It's this woman's making eye contact with you. Oh my God. Like, she must be a harlot. Like, that's why there's the whole, like, rumor that she's a prostitute, I mean, it's like the second a woman has any power, she's automatically a whore, which, in my mind is not a bad thing, but,
I also like the theory, too, that the Mona Lisa there was that thing, I think there was, like, some TV special on maybe 20 years ago or whatever where they talked about that, and it was like, they took a well-known drawing of Da Vinci that they know that he did himself, and they lined it up with the painting and it was reversed and everything, and it was just one of those like cunning little art tricks that Da Vinci did. It's like, look at this painting, haha, it's me, I'm in drag. So again,
which
Leonardo
again,
da Vinci,
super queer,
yes,
super. I mean, I would file that under art prank. I love that. Unfortunately, Suki is not watching, so she. My friend Suki Valmont and I used to always art prank each other And I haven't done it for a while. Like, I mean, we talked on it. I do appreciate a good art prank where it's like, you know, oh, you get something in the mail and it's like a silly, like it's like a dick postcard or something like that. It's like a prank. You know, it's not, you know, it's not like I'm embarrassing you on Ellen, you know, which I found out she's been doing a lot on her show. And it's disappointing to me. I was like, that's mean. It's like, Ellen, you're better than that.
Yeah, there's a whole YouTube hole of how Ellen is not a nice person.
So just gonna put this background in. It's like the background is really general and kind of boring in this painting, to be honest with you. But again, it's because she's the more intriguing. She's the subject, you know. Yeah. I mean, and that's the other thing that's kind of bold. It's like, okay, she's not a goddess. She's not, you know, she's just some random person. You know, and it's like, and that's so foreign to us now because, you know, you have Whistler's mother, you have like, you know, all these like random subjects in art. But, you know, I mean, up until this point, you know, it was a lot about, it was, you know, religious, Greek gods, you know, world leaders, royalty, clerical people, but just like a random person, you know, like. So again, automatically, she's got to be a whore. She's, you know, she couldn't just be an amazing human being. That's just like a normal, you know, whatever. So what are people saying? Is anybody commenting, confessing things?
No one's really saying much at the moment, although Rose likes her eyebrows in her hands, the Mona Lisa's eyebrows and hands. And Brief Sweat, he's just calling her a hussy. She's just a hussy.
Well, because Brief, you appreciate a hussy, just like I do.
Right. But that's pretty much it. Yeah. So no one else is saying much of anything at the moment.
It's sort of carving in these details.
Although Rose is suggesting we should watch Dollface on Hulu. I don't think I've seen it come up on Hulu, Dollface. So, although we've seen Russian Doll, that's a great show. Yeah.
Yeah, Russian Doll is really good if you guys like that. So, you know, again, because this is a matte knife painting, this isn't Leonardo da Vinci reproduction class 101. I feel like because it's spring, and because lately I have been, spring is not canceled, everybody. You know, I've been really bad about going outside. You're allowed to go outside. So
just don't linger too long.
Right. And so I want to do a like kind of pastel, you know, I mean, Meryl Streep's rolling her eyes. Ooh, groundbreaking. But you know what, Meryl Streep, or actually I should say, what is her name? Miranda
Priestley.
Miranda Priestley. And Anna Wintour. You can suck my dick. Sometimes obvious is the way.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to prepare myself, like, you know, I dumped out a lot of white here. I would have had all this prepared before, but, you know, it's also, I don't want to have this out and then it all dries up. So one of my favorite greens in the world, which is being incredibly stubborn. And then, some yellow and...
So Brief Sweat was saying he loves to see how the sausage gets made, and then Rose replied, it's like Brief wants to see Matt's sausage. I bet you do, Brief.
Well, Brief, you know what? You can video chat with me later.
Yeah.
You know?
Little video setup later,
you know what I mean? So, we are going to, is Mom and everyone back to, like, who do we got?
Oh, yeah, they're all back. It's like we got 7
good.
people here.
Thanks,
Patrick,
everybody.
Rose,
Thanks.
Mom, Jacob Rizzo Blackman is watching.
That's still way too...
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. It's mostly Rose and... Actually, I can't see else. Lori's watching, Melissa's watching, and Brief just brought a signature. Whoa.
So
I
think I want to go very pastel, like, and this is still a little too. I might even like just like lightly gesso over this after I'm done with it, just to like really give it kind of like a low key, as we want to say. Because doing it, I mean, this thing has been done in just about. I think I've actually already seen Mona Lisas with like masks on. Like, I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
again, it's like I'm not claiming to be this big innovator of Mona Lisa parodies, but again, it like. When you're an artist, you have to kind of not care. You have to be like, all right, I'm just gonna,
Well, sometimes it's more about, it's like what you want to paint, not what you're trying to sell, too.
Right.
So, and yes, brief, these are all acrylic paints that Matt is painting with.
Yeah. So let's make her, we'll do some purple. We need a bigger brush.
Yes, don't be afraid of those big brushes.
Yeah, well, see, I have to paint with bigger brushes because I want this to be faster. So we're going to do some purple here. Because you do want to kind of keep with the theme of it being, the colors kind of being where it is. But I'm going to let the brush do the work. And then why don't we do a slightly darker blue? So how's everybody's day going? Like, were people...
What is today? It's Wednesday? Wednesday, yes. Hope everyone had a good day. I did my weekly... claim my weekly unemployment benefits. Although, to be perfectly honest, I don't know if I'm actually supposed to be looking for a job while I'm claiming them during the pandemic. So, hopefully I'm not doing it wrong.
Well, what job are you going to look for now?
Well, exactly. I mean, there are jobs. There's online jobs somewhere. And also, if I want to get a job at a grocery store, then those are there too. So, but... I think they're all going to end up being less than what I'm making on unemployment.
But it also doesn't make any sense to have people out and about.
No, which is why I think it's okay to not actually be actively looking for work.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, no, like, we're supposed to be staying home.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can do something from home, I'm all about it. But, So that was the little river. Old Bad River. So obviously, like, guys, something I've noticed about painting is that, like, I call it big passes, little passes, where it's like, this is a big pass. Like, I'm doing, like, big blocks of shapes and forms and putting the color where it needs to go and sort of not really caring too much about, like, if I go over a line or something like that. And then once you've done a big pass over it, then you go through it with a little pass and like you put the little details in and you da-da-da-da-da. And then usually after that, you have to do a big pass again. And so once I've kind of like, it's kind of helped me keep it in my head, like where I am in the painting, because otherwise it gets really overwhelming, like, and not fun. So, especially when you're waiting for layers to dry and things like that. So... And it also helps, like, add depth. Okay. So, we are going to address her with, I guess, some medium passes is what we'll call this. And, it's funny because the other day... when I was painting Cubby, everybody was sort of like, I did this phase and everybody was like, oh my god, they look like they went to the tanning bed. And I was like, the reason why I am painting this like insanely orange is because you have to think about how flesh is. So you have me as an example here. It's like I'm pretty fair. And the reason, like, when you look at some of those paintings and you see how, like, porcelain white everyone looks, and you're like, oh my god, I can see, like, almost to their bones. And the reason why is because they're painting what's really there. I mean, under your skin, you are red because of blood, like in muscle. So, if you paint a flesh tone over this, then you get that, like, sort of a luminous, like, you're getting what you're seeing. Does that make sense? Like, we're just going to throw a couple of highlights.
But I do think it is kind of interesting to see an orange Mona Lisa in a purple robe.
Yeah, right.
You know, make it all surrealist. Because it's like, you know, you've painted purple people before.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I love painting purple people.
Purple people eater.
So we're going to do some...
Fly, purple people eater.
We're going to do some directional... Because this, I'm really going to... like, because the painting's actually really dark. It's a very, like... I mean, even seeing, like, the finer details of, like, where this ends and, like, what's really behind here, I really had to look at it. Like, I was just like, that's... Again, which is why I'm sort of like, this isn't really a super greatly executed piece of art.
Well, to be perfectly... Well, in actuality, the painting is unfinished. You know, like I said, it's like Da Vinci, they said he spent 10 years trying to paint that mouth because it's like he was notorious about not finishing his paintings or any of his commissions, really. So
well, I mean, I get it, because you could fuss, you could fuss over a painting forever.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, you have to let it go. Like, Stephen King talks about it. It's like, you have to send your kid off to college. Like, you hope they don't get raped. You hope their house doesn't get broken into. But you know what? I mean, you can't protect your children forever. So you have to, like, hope for the best. Like, there, I'm sending you off to college. Like, hopefully I raise smart kid, you know? Like... So you know, it's similar in that sense where, you know, because my art is my children. It's the thing I'm going to leave behind in the world. So it's sort of like, you know, oh, I have to do those hands. Her hands are very beautiful. Rose was commenting about the hands, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, and well, and she's saying too, it's like green, orange, and purple. They're actually very traditional underpainting colors to begin with too. So, so you're doing the right thing by putting those colors in there.
It's almost like I've been doing this my whole life. Right?
Oh my god. It's like, I love it. It's kind of like an Easter Mona Lisa too. You know, you don't see it that colorful. So I think it's nice. It's like, you kind of wonder, it's like if they did to the Mona Lisa what they did to the Sistine Chapel, what does it really look like? Or is it 500 years of varnish? So,
well, in the Sistine Chapel's case, it was 300 years of varnishing. Oh, yeah. And, you know, like, I mean, because that really is as rich. It really is as rich as it looks now. And, you know, there's a lot of people that hated that restoration. I mean, I've seen it with my own eyes. And it's absolutely stunningly beautiful. Like, and I'm so glad that they did that restoration.
Well, and and honestly, for a painting that's supposed to represent heaven, yes, they're all biblical allegories and stuff, and it's like, and this is before, you know, the Rococo period, but for a painting that's supposed to represent heaven, I would think they would use more natural colors instead of the sepia that we're so used to, because then it just looks like a painted ceiling.
Well, but Scott, you also have to think about what colors they had, and they did have vibrant colors.
Oh, they did, totally.
It's also the candle smoke. The candle smoke there, like, really covered it all up. But I don't know. It's just the vibrancy. I mean, it's so much more three-dimensional than it looks like in real life. Like, I mean, when you're like a picture, like there was, I seriously, when I looked up at Jonah, who was like right above the Last Judgment, I looked up and I flinched because I thought his feet were going to hit me in the face. Like, I mean, I'd never had an experience with a piece of art like that before. Especially, I mean, I look up knowing what I was going to be seeing. Like, I mean, I know that work of art like the back of my hand. And it made me flinch. Like, so it just goes to show you. So I'm just going to, like, you know, put some shadow in here because it's sort of a little lost. Just to create some depth. And I'm also probably not going to be able to finish this for you all, but you know, at least you can see how I lay shit out, you know. And again, I would say that this is sort of a medium pass of what I was saying. I'm sort of going in a little bit more defining edges, creating shadows with some black, which there are artists out there that are probably shuddering because there's so many people that like, you should never paint with black, and I'm just like, those people are not death positive enough.
Who says you shouldn't paint with black?
Oh, I've had so many painting teachers that are like, don't paint with black, and I'm like, you're fucking crazy. Like, I mean, it would be like, don't paint with white. Like, I mean, it's like, it's people, it just, Hobbyists like rules. Artists know how to bend the rules. That's just
Nice.
all I'm going to say.
Nice.
Because I've done broken tons of rules right now. So, again, like, I'm just going to grab, like, a small little detail brush, and I'm going to try to, I also realized, too, my hand gets in the way, and then you guys can't see. We're working towards maybe getting different cameras so that you guys can get different angles and stuff, but, I also am curious, too, you know, I've been hearing Instagram Live is a little bit better, because then, like, we could have Rose Martin as a guest.
Mm-hmm.
And then she could sit in, you know, which would be lovely. I would love to have lots of you as guests. So, we could discuss that prospect soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I don't know. I haven't looked into it too much. I don't know how many, like, people you can have join you on the live feed on Instagram, but I know you can do at least one at a time. Or you just invite 50 people to your Zoom meeting. But I do like the drop-in nature of the Facebook Live. People would be scrolling through and be seeing if they see something interesting going on. It's like, oh, what's going on here? But I don't know if they would necessarily catch that on Instagram. I don't know. Not really sure. So
I'm going to put just a little bit of orange right up here in her part, because her part is really important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Don't forget her veil either, but that's an after. That's
her veil?
Thing. She has a veil, actually.
What?
Yeah, there's a veil there. You know, she has a very transparent veil, translucent veil. You know, it's like this, basically it's like this line across her forehead.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. So, I think in the, you know, the original, it's probably, like, lost or forgotten because, you know, you really can't get up close to it because there's just crowds of people in front of that bulletproof glass.
Yeah.
Which I'll extrapolate on a little bit. But I think the Duchamp postcard we have in the bathroom, actually, you can see that veil and how that goes on there, too. But back to
just making a nice bold line. So again, she's like really coming out from that background.
But back to the Mona Lisa and the Louvre, I also do like the theory that the Mona Lisa is only famous because of its robbery, not because it is an exceptional piece of art. So,
like, I mean, I actually think the girl in the pearl earring is a much more intriguing.
Oh my god! I mean, any of his paintings, Girl with the Pearl Earring. I don't know what the names of them are. You know, the maid, and all that sort of stuff. It's like,
or as I like to call her, the squirrel with the pearl earring.
I think those are much better paintings than, say, you know, the Mona Lisa. Like I said, I think Da Vinci's greatest achievement are in his sketchbooks rather than the paintings themselves. So,
well, and I mean, I also just think life, you know, I mean, legacy, you know, you can't. Mona Lisa, much like, if you guys know Gary Newman, if you guys know that song from the 80s, that here in my car, I feel safest of all. I can lock all my doors. It's the only way to live in cars. Like, that, everybody knows that song, but nobody else knows, like, Down in the Park or Our Friends Electric or anything else. Like, it's the tip of the iceberg. And I kind of feel the same way about the Mona Lisa. I was like, this is the tip of the iceberg. Like, this ain't, like, you know, this, yes, this is an amazing work of art, but it's there, he has so much more to offer.
Mm-hmm.
So much more to offer.
Yes, indeed.
I mean,
and here's Patrick schooling us. Yes, Vermeer. The name was escaping me. I had a
I knew it was Vermeer.
In my head, because I completely avoided saying the name. It's like for some reason I was thinking it's like Van Rijn, you know, Rembrandt Van Rijn, because it's like I couldn't think of his name. All I could think of was what's her name in the movie Girl with a Pearl Earring, and she's talking about all
Scarlett
of Vermeer's...
Johansson?
No, not Scarlett Johansson, the mother-in-law. What's her name? You know, she did, she was the rich lady in Dolores Claiborne. She's the sister, what's her name, in Call the Midwives. Yeah, she was that. But she was like talking about Vermeer's contemporaries, and I couldn't think of the name Vermeer. So...
For Squeer.
For Squeer, yes.
Okay, so
Yes,
I'm
and
just
here
gonna...
Patrick has posted the Wikipedia link for all of those interested in watching. That's a good movie to watch again, though. Is Girl with a Pearl Earring? I like
this
that. Well, I
this
like that
for...
the talking about the nature of painting and how to make the paint and so on.
Yeah. Well, and I also love the scene where he realizes that she's a weirdo too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because they were looking at the clouds together, and he was like, well, what colors do you see? And she's like, I see green, and I see purple, and I see... Because, I mean, that's the way seeing color is. Like,
Yeah.
and then everybody else looks at you and goes, that's not purple, that's blue. And I'm like, yeah, but it's a purplish
Mm-hmm.
blue. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, if you had to sit down and mix those pigments, how would you mix those pigments?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what he was asking her. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, being a dyer and an artist, like, I totally
Mm-hmm.
knew what he was talking about. And again, going back to what I said in part one, is it's like, you never know what moment you're going to be where somebody, like, you know, hands you an exam
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, the SATs of art, and you're like, and then suddenly you're like, oh, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I've been prepared for this for my whole life. Like,
Or when you're someone like me who's actually red-green colorblind. It's like, it's funny because it's like, I don't even think I mentioned this to you because we suddenly came into, quarantine. But our last windows at work, we had all of these pastel walls arranged, and they were all different colors on two different sides, and, shades of yellow and pink and green. And I didn't pick out the colors. I didn't know what they were. So we're going in there, we're doing touch-ups, and somebody had taken off all of the labels on these pieces of scenery. So it's like I knew what the colors were. I knew where they were supposed to have been, but they also reorganized from where they were in our layouts. So I'm actually going through and I'm trying to figure out what these colors were, but I can't tell what they are because they've already been lit. So here I've got this kind of sherbet colored wall that's getting this bright blue reflection from the sky outside. Plus there's a pink light shining in an upper corner. It is literally 3 different colors. And here I am trying to match wet paint onto what this color is. And sometimes it's like I'd put a tiny little stroke like 5 times trying to find the right one until I found it. It was like, this was so frustrating because, this sherbet wall turned brown or it was green just because of how the light worked on it. So it's a very interesting thing. And, when people get on me saying, it's like, well, you're colorblind, how can you be an artist? It's like, it's not the name of the color that
I can't
matters.
tell you how many colorblind set designers I know.
Yeah.
Like, when I found out Scott was colorblind, like, he told me, like, it's always such a secret. It's always such a shameful revelation for you. And I'm just like, and I finally was the one, like, Paul Short, who is this genius artist I know at the Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music. He's the head of their scenic design program, and he's colorblind, and he's brilliant.
Yeah.
Can see color, like, forever, can tell you stuff. And it's like, I mean, he trained his eye to know what he could see versus what he couldn't see.
Yeah.
And Scott, you're exactly the same way. Like, Scott sees light very interestingly, because there are times, because I don't see light very well. I see color very well. I don't see light as well. Mm-hmm. And so, like, that'll be the missing link in whatever painting I'm working on. I'm like, Scott, tell me about the light in this. And he'll be like, oh, you need to do this and whatever. But then there are times where I'm just like, I'm like, Scott, I can match this color for you. Just ask me.
Well, exactly. Well, it's like you also paint in this yellow light all the time too, and I'm curious as to like how you see them with yellow light compared to bright white light, bright blue light, daylight, things like that. But yeah, people have gotten on me, and it's like even at work, sometimes they get on me about like the color because I'm naming it wrong or whatever. It's like, I mean, I like jewel tones more than I like pastels over anything. But they kind of get on me. And also, it's like, when they're talking about brightness of color, it's like, I don't actually think that you're using that word correctly, whether something is bright or not, but whatever.
So, I am gonna let this chill for a little bit, because I'm kind of now this is at the, like, fussy place where it's like I have to do one thing and then let it dry for 15 minutes and then do another thing and let it dry for 15 minutes. So, I will show you, give me 2 seconds and I'll show you something. 2 seconds.
2 seconds. Did you paint a smile on the mask?
On her mask.
On the Mona Lisa smile, that movie from What's Its Time with Julia Roberts and Kirsten Dunst and What's Her Name and Tori Amos and What's Her Name Again and sew-ons.
Well,
and
because
so
she's
forth.
still got her. She can. I mean, Rose Martin taught me she can still have her smile. Like, I mean, with a mask. So, guys, I'm still not done. But here's the Bob Ross clown murder scene. With I'm trying to get this down so the ring light doesn't get in it, but you can see the like pinata full of candy. So this is at that fussy, annoying place. So it's just a couple more layers and this will be done. And then Linnea Quigley from the other day, I finished her too. So added some stuff and, you know, fixed some problems and did all that. It was pretty cool. Hi, Arbear, we watched Aunt Rum yesterday, and we really, really liked it. So I think we're going to do an episode of that. So, having said that and showed you stuff, we're going to objectify my husband for a second. And then we are going to come sit on the couch again.
Brief was also asking too, it's like if you ever use a hairdryer when you're painting.
I do use a hairdryer mostly when I do watercolor because it's water, whereas it's like I hesitate with the acrylics because acrylic is plastic, and when you add heat to plastic, weird things tend to happen. So you know what? You've put the bug in my ear, the bee in my bonnet, so I'll give it a try, because that actually might help me. Because I was explaining it to Scott yesterday, like I have a stack of paintings that are all in this fussy place, and it's nice when you're already warmed up and your hand's ready to go to paint these things when they're in that place, but like it's another thing to like start with that, and I've been much better about it lately, but I just like, I told him, I was like, I have to finish these paintings like tomorrow or they're just gonna sit here for another like 6 months.
Well, maybe it's not a hairdryer, it's just a small portable fan too, you know?
No, I mean, well, I do put stuff in front of fans.
Yes,
like, I mean,
yes.
I have dryers, not dry, well, fan
Fans
stations.
in the kitchen, fans on the bed, fans in the living room, drying everything. Yes.
I have these mats down on the bed. I actually could show you. Why not? I'll just show you. I'll take you, because it's already laid down, but the lighting won't be great. But like, I gotta walk over here. But yeah, I mean, and I put stuff, I put these mats down on the bed. I don't want to show you guys what's working here, because these paintings are like, so, this close to being done, and one of them I'm really excited about. So if you go back and look, but I just put this little fan down, Vornado, and do that. And then in the kitchen, there's other mats down, and then I'll put them on the floor right here, and then you can even see the fans are already like, whoop. So yeah. But you know, you can't, there's some like mediums that they really recommend that you just have to let it be what it is. Otherwise, like the cracking mediums, like if you try to make them dry like it takes 3 days for those to cure. And if you rush it, you're not gonna get the results you want. Mom says she wants to hear about Aunt Rum. Antrum. Yes. So our bear recommended it yesterday. It is on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
We watched it. I feel like this is a good thing to set you up for, because the movie does it has that Ring, Blair Witch Project, like mystique of it being real, and it's not. Like, I mean, it's like, it tries to set you up. It's like, there's even a legal disclaimer that comes up, and it's like, if you watch this all the way through, and da-da-da-da-da. Well, we watched it last night, and we're fine. So,
well,
like...
Granted, it hasn't quite been 24 hours yet, so... Because they did say in those little documentary things, it's like 24 hours later, they watched the movie and then they died. So,
well, I also kept thinking through the whole movie too that I'm a witch and that there's a protective ring around this house already, and a million things set up to keep shit like this out. And then also within the movie, they keep doing a prayer throughout the whole movie that I also feels like protects you too. So I'm just like, okay, like if you're dumb, then yeah, I could see maybe there's, like, if you welcome this shit into your house. But I mean, I told Scott, I was like, even despite the movie's disclaimer, if this movie is actually welcoming something into my space, like, I'm not consenting to that.
Yeah,
like,
no.
you know, I was like, I can watch this movie. I mean, you can go up to the glass in a tiger cage and still be safe from the tiger, you know? Like, I mean,
Just don't stick your arm in.
Yeah, like, don't stick your arm in,
one.
don't break the glass. If you break the glass and go, woo, sardine oil, Mr. Tiger, like... You know, I mean, it's just, it's good. It's good. It's a nice ride. It's not too intense. It is unsettling. Like, I wouldn't necessarily want to watch it alone at 3 a.m.
In the dark.
In the dark.
Alone.
But if it was the middle of the day and you're alone, like, watch it, put it on, and, you know, I mean, there is a fast forward button for a reason, and I am definitely not afraid to use the fast forward button. But guys, so we're about here at the end here, but I just wanted to give you some updates on some things. So Cubby and I are actually doing a horror podcast on Monday, which I'm super excited to hear about. Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to be discussing the movie Witchboard.
Yes, that.
Yeah, because Patrick, who watches this periodically,
Yes.
And I've called him out a couple times, I guess he's been enjoying what we've been doing, and he invited me to do that, which I'm really honored and happy, because this is exactly what I wanted. I was like, yes, guys, like, I am more than just a stripper, I promise. And, I mean, which, again, I could write a thesis about how being a stripper requires a lot of skill sets under your...
It really does.
And as we've discovered, a lot of people here, you know, love it. Excuse me. So that's going to be happening. That's nice. And tomorrow, I think we're really going to step it up with the Getty Museum Challenge. I posted it on Instagram and here. We did the first one and posted it today, and it's been getting a lot of thumbs up and likes and comments.
And actually, we took some pictures of you, and has nothing to do with the Getty thing, but we also took some other pictures of you in your bias cut dress you made, and did some retouching, photoshopping on that one. So who's going to post that soon? I'm really proud of the work I did on it. Matt should be really proud of the work he did on it. So for two completely different artistic reasons.
The MZK Studios is stepping it up.
Yes.
Like, you know,
yes,
as the kids
yes.
today, we're stepping up our pussies. Is
Yes.
that what the...
It's stepping up your pussies, the glow ups, the branding, all those marketing terms, because that is what they have been teaching us for the last 5 years.
That is the world we live in. Yeah. So again, that's as an artist, that's where I do get upset, is because there are some people in the world who are just good at marketing. Like, that's what they're good at. That is their skill set.
Yeah.
They can't paint. They can't do anything else, but they can market the shit out of something. And I was like, that's the people I need to meet, because they're not interested in being stars. They're not interested in they just want to help people like me get shit out there. And I'm like, okay, you need to be my friend, because I can do the content stuff for days, which is the shit you can't do. And I'm not good at the marketing part of it. So you are more than likely. But if you start coming at me with, well, Matt, you know, like, if you were a little less of a faggot, maybe this demographic would hate you, or would like you more. I would just be like, that shit, I have no patience for.
Well, and sometimes it's timing too. It's like, there was always a thing, it's like, the best time to make Instagram posts is these times a day. It's basically your first poop of the day, your second poop of the day, your lunch poop, and your when you get home poop, and your after dinner poop. So those are 5s. Literally, it's your poop timings, because you go into the bathrooms at work and you're on your phone.
That's a lot of pooping.
That's a lot of pooping. Well,
I don't know if the average person poops 5 times a day.
It's not necessarily those, but it's those particular breaks of the day. So, but now they don't exist. So can you post them at like 10 a.m., 12 p.m., so on and so forth? People are up till 4 in the morning.
Yeah, but you know, even my up late with Matt Knifes, like, sometimes they'll get 4 likes, and then other times they'll get like 27,000. Like, and it just like,
really?
you just
27,000?
not that many, but like, I mean, you just like yes, I think that there are, much like witchcraft, there are ideal times in which you can